Welcome to Deal. Gets open for three. Dagger!
The kick, and here it comes. Swing and a miss! And a World Series Game 7 winning Curly W is in the books.
Washington Capitals are the 2018 Stanley Cup champions. You like that? You like that? I like that.
You gotta like that, right?
My approval ratings keep going up.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Welcome in. This is Defeating the Curse. My name is Joe. LP is here. FP is here. It is the eve after the election in Virginia. And boys, I kind of wish Steve was here because I want to rub this one all in his face. Virginia went red. And I'll leave it at that for now. Maybe we'll come back to this topic later on. I could probably do a 30-minute monologue all by myself about the election and what happened in Virginia up and down the ballot. But I will wait for Steve because I definitely want him to be here when I rub his face in it a little bit. But it is the Washington football team bye week. I think we should talk about that as well. Aaron Rodgers apparently told everyone or led everyone to believe he was vaccinated. Turns out he wasn't. I don't know why anyone cares about this. He did test positive for COVID. He's going to miss a couple games. But the blue check marks are out for his head, basically. I think he's on the road to being canceled. I don't think it'll actually happen because the Packers are too powerful of an organization, and he's got too much power within the NFL, and he's too good, frankly, to be canceled. I mean, he's not Kirk Cousins, right? I mean, they're not going to ridicule him the way they do some of the other quarterbacks, the lesser quarterbacks. So I think we should talk about that. Here in D.C., it's Wednesday, which means we're doing Ron quotes, what he did and didn't say on local media on Monday and Tuesday. Monday following a very disappointing loss to the Broncos, and then Tuesday he does his local media hits on radio. A couple interesting nuggets there. Apparently he's not aware of whether or not Fitzpatrick is practicing or throwing or in the building. No. Apparently he's just not aware. I'm not really sure what Ron does day to day, but the guy, his prized acquisition or one of them from the offseason, he really doesn't know whether he's available or not, or when he will be available. Curtis Samuel, one of the other acquisitions, not really sure what he's doing either. So Ron not giving us much, and we could talk about that, I guess, a little bit. Caps are looking okay with a big one coming up tomorrow. I'm sure FP's very excited about that versus the Panthers. And the Wizards. The Wizards are looking pretty good in an Eastern Conference that is looking like a little bit more of a toss-up than I expected it. And LP, I know you watch a ton of basketball. We're a week and a half, 2 weeks or so into the season now. There's a couple interesting storylines around the league. The Lakers are kind of poopy. The Wizards, surprisingly, are less poopy. And some of the studs from last year's postseason have kind of picked up exactly where they left off. So I think there's a lot of different things we can get into. Let's start with the football team, boys. It's a bye week, which means our Sundays cannot be ruined with a Washington football team win or loss, for that matter. They will have no hold on us this Sunday. We can watch or do whatever we want without feeling guilty or having to look over our shoulders or pace around the living room, dining room, den, man cave, whatever, because they're not playing. And if they're not playing, they can't lose. But to me, it still feels like a loss because the way they played on Sunday was terrible. So, I mean, give me your thoughts here, LP. I know you're always on tape delay, but I'm sure by now you've seen the Broncos game. That was a bad game from start to finish for this team. Do you disagree?
I don't disagree, but I also don't have high expectations for this team anymore. You're down Curtis Samuel, you're down De'Ami Brown, you're down, half of an Antonio Gibson, and you're asking Heineke, who's a guy who's been undrafted, who was not supposed to be the starter this year, to then go lead the team to victories. It's not a recipe for success. In that game, you had the whole right side of the line not starters. Just too many injuries. There's too many bad players on this team. There's just there's bad coaches. There's just too many bad things going on.
Are you over the Heineke experiment? Are we done? Do we know are we done with Taylor Heineke?
We know what he is.
Yeah.
And he's our best option for the rest of the year. I mean, Fitz is not coming back.
I disagree with you on that. I think Fitzpatrick, if he's upright and can sling the ball, he's got to be the starter.
He's throwing the ball in a locker room. He's 40 years old.
Well, we don't know. We don't know, according to Ron, where he's throwing the ball. We don't know if he's throwing the ball.
What I do know is that there was someone on Reddit or Twitter or something that was at their kid's soccer game, and their kid plays with Fitzpatrick's kid, and Fitz was at the game still in crutches. if you're still in crutches and you're above 35 years old, you're not in football shape for at least a month.
I mean, you want to talk about a curse, right? Only in DC, this guy has been as close to an Iron Man for a journeyman quarterback as there's been. Like, he hasn't missed games throughout his career due to injury that I recall. He's been the same kind of guy everywhere, but he doesn't miss games. Of course, he comes to DC, attempts 3 passes, breaks his hip or whatever happened, and maybe his career's over now. Like, it's incredible, just the luck or the curse or whatever of this team. But I mean, they are not good top to bottom. And FP, I know you and I kind of talked about this, and getting into Ron specifically, it's the same thing. Like, it's the same thing week to week. There's no defensive adjustments being made. He's supposed to be a defensive-minded coach, which is so stupid in the modern NFL anyway. But whatever. He's letting Jack Del Rio basically continue to do the same things over and over. The one bright spot, I went back and watched that game again. Landon Collins played much better. He played much better.
Best game of the year.
Yeah, and then we immediately said that he's available for trade. So nobody wanted him.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, FP, this coaching staff
rolls deep.
Yeah, this coaching staff has to be held accountable at some point too. And Ron this week coming on and saying, well, everyone needs to be patient. It could take 5 years. 5 years? What are we talking? Do we have another 3 years of this? Like, we've been doing this for 20-something years. That to me doesn't make any sense. Like, their teams go from worst to first much faster than 5 years, and we're not even asking for first. We're just asking
because they have a quarterback, though. No one has gone from last to anywhere decent without a quarterback. And that's what you're expecting of this team. Like, it's just not possible. It's not going to happen.
No, like the problem is you've taken a team before Ron, and you had your half lightning in a bottle season last year where you stumbled into an NFC East championship. Gives us the tougher schedule, sure, whatever. Blame the injuries if you want, but from the coaching staff perspective, I mean, you have Ron going to the media saying, like, we're going to start evaluating things from the first 8 weeks of the year. We're going to start evaluating things from the first 8 weeks.
That's a normal process that happens on every team for every bye week.
No.
Fair,
No.
You don't start evaluating.
Bye week,
this felt a whole lot. Was it Shanahan that once upon a time said it's or not, it wasn't Shanahan. It was one of the coaches basically came out and was like, yeah, we're in talent evaluation mode at this point. Get the backups
Shanahan did it. But what's the problem with that? Because last year we were
8 weeks into the season.
Yeah, man.
You're supposed to have a top flight defense. You were in the playoffs last year. There's so many things wrong with that. Not to mention you can't say it.
You're out.
No, your evaluation should have been
but you can't say
week in and week out.
You can't say it.
You would have done
You can say that BS when you're in Carolina and nobody's paying attention anyway to the Panthers. You can't say that in DC. Like, this is, I know it's a dwindling fan base, but the ones of us that are left, we still give a damn. Like, you can't say that. You're supposed to be better,
but not the media market. The media market is still huge and aggressive, and you can't say start evaluating now after 8 weeks, especially when you have, look at all the mess ups that he had in those 8 weeks that he should have been evaluating, right? Ignore the Hopkins.
You can't ignore it.
Yeah, we can't.
The replacement has been blocked Hopkins 3 times on 5 attempts.
The replacement's name is Blewett.
Yeah, don't make the joke. That shtick is terrible. Don't do that.
It's
don't
terrible
do
shtick, but it's
he's never kicked in the NFL. Like, his number is 12.
But Hopkins,
I know.
sorry,
I don't.
not Hopkins,
like, those things don't matter. But
you
Ron
have
has to be held accountable for
the
that.
kicking gaff, and then you have Landon Collins, and then you have all your free agent additions to your defense are trash. William Jackson is trash. Bobby McCain is trash. Like, the defense played better.
Curtis Samuel. Where's Curtis Samuel?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, look, the defense specifically. William Jackson got injured. Bobby McCain couldn't play. Landon Collins got moved, and everyone's like, "Oh, look, the defense is starting to look a little bit better."
Bobby McCain is on every play. He's in on every play. What are you talking about?
Missing interceptions.
Yeah, so
that
Dan Johnson,
be
but there's more than that. But it's more like Ron literally brought the entire Panthers organization with him, right? His head trainer, who's been with him for a zillion years, is no longer in the building. Yeah. Right? Like, that goes on Ron.
Both Martys, who were the architects of the Lions franchise, by the way, are here now, and we're expecting that to be something good.
Yeah, but the other Marty was also the architect of the Niner Super Bowl run.
That
Like,
one time.
Yeah,
The
one time.
with the strong defense that got them in there.
you need in the NFL to win. You need a lot of pieces. Tampa Bay was completely trash.
You don't
get
need a
Tom
lot
Brady,
of pieces. You need one piece. You either have a quarterback or you don't. And if you've got one, you're gonna be in the mix.
Yeah, you're right.
Right?
And that's
it's
what I'm
one.
saying.
It's one.
We
thing.
don't have
So
that quarterback.
we don't. But they were in a position to trade or draft, right? And they opted not to do it. They went for Fitzpatrick. And personally, I thought that was fine because I expected the defense to not suck the way that they suck, right? But they suck. I mean,
look at any of the draft picks that came out this year. Put them in Washington. Are we that much of a better team? None of them look good.
No, but there's hope. But there's at least a chance of being better.
If you're telling me that we got one of those guys instead of project inside linebacker Jamin Davis, who has his ups and downs, but you still wasted a first round draft pick on a project.
You're comparing
better.
Jamin. You could have gotten Davis Mills. Okay, that's who you want. If you don't want Jamin Davis,
well,
like
you don't
all
know.
the quarterbacks are
They
gone.
could have traded up. They could have traded up. And frankly, you can go back in time.
Moves. Yeah,
they could have had Justin Herbert, right? If we're going to play that game, right? You had the second overall pick. I mean, if by some miracle, Chase goes 1 and Burrow comes here, we're having a totally different conversation, right? It's a totally different thing. Like in this league, you either have a quarterback or you don't. We don't have one. The closest thing we've had to one in a long time is Kirk Cousins, and he's not here, and it's not worth reminiscing or going down that road because honestly, he's significantly better than anyone else on this roster or that has been here since the 4 years he's left.
Himself.
But he is not himself a top 4 or 5 quarterback. He's that next level up. We're like 3 levels below where Kirk is performing right now.
It's not worth it talking about the quarterback right now,
not.
right? The draft class is weak. No free agent wants to come here. It's not worth talking about that. The point to drive home.
I think that's an important point too. Hold on, that's an important point too. This tank for not tank the bring Tua here. We don't need Tua.
No.
We have Tua on the roster. Okay, his name is Taylor Heineke. Like we don't need Tua. And this idea that Deshaun Watson's going to come here, that is never going to happen. He will never trade. He will never waive his no trade to come to DC.
Russell Wilson's not coming.
No,
Aaron Rodgers
is not coming.
Nobody's coming.
Maybe you could have gotten Stafford. Last year.
didn't
Now the
even
best
wanna
you can
pick
do
up
is
the
probably Jared Goff.
Stafford and McVay had an agreement way before the end of the season.
Right,
Yeah.
but
Maybe,
the issue
but
is-
like who? But who's left? I mean, just this week, right? I mean, yesterday was the trade deadline, and news was breaking towards around the 3:00 hour Eastern that Ron was really close to trading with the Bills to bring Mitch
I don't
Trubisky.
believe it. I don't believe it.
I 100% believe it.
media
I
hoopla.
100% believe it.
That just
Why
smells
would
of a Ron Rivera move.
Yeah, exactly.
Trubisky is not like he's not a quarterback that's going to run a Scott Turner offense. I don't know why.
Oh,
he would
because
ever
the
be
Scott
linked.
Turner offense is so complex. It's bubble screens
Look,
and
if Taylor Heineke
off-tackle
can
runs.
figure out the
No,
Scott
it's-
Turner offense,
He
I
can't-
mean,
he
he's
can't-
looking
he
at
can't
first round
throw.
draft pick.
You
Mitch
look at
Trubisky.
what they did this year and what they tried to get, and then that's a Fitzpatrick, right? So if they're going to go,
You
out
wouldn't.
and get
You
somebody
wouldn't rather have
different-
Mitch Trubisky right now than any quarterback that's on this roster. I would.
I would
I
take
would
Mitch
not.
Trubisky in a heartbeat.
No, of
He's
course.
more mobile than you think. He has a
He's
much
not a
stronger arm
passer.
than
He doesn't know
Heineke.
he doesn't throw the ball.
You
Sidearms.
cannot. You
He-
can't
I'm
judge.
not asking you if you like him. Is he better than what you have today?
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
In this offense, no.
100%.
I bet you.
What do you mean this offense? You swear this is like the greatest show on turf. It's literally bubble
LP is
screens
the most
and throw it
bipolar
and literally just throw
Washington
it
football fan.
somewhere over Terry McLaurin's head and hopefully he'll jump up and catch it. That's our offense. What are you talking about?
No.
How many times
no.
have we seen
It-
media
this-
and commentators break
Jay
down?
Gruden
film?
was a bubble screen offense. This is a different offense. I mean, it's not.
Jay
I'm not
Gruden
saying
got
it's
it done
complex.
with Jay Gruden. You could say what you want with him about as a coach and definitely the off the field stuff. The offense moved better than it's moving now. I
No.
mean,
They
it just,
weren't averaging
no way.
10 points a game. Come on, dude. 10 points
10
a game.
points. Come on.
10
That's
points. That's one
terrible.
time. Who are the receivers?
last, like,
Who's the
3 games.
offensive line?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
is
matter.
that the
Jay
last
Gruden
game?
I don't know
offense
what game you're
was
watching.
passing to broken Chris Thompson.
Listen,
the
I
entire
was
time.
I was all over exactly. It was a lot of Chris Thompson. It was a lot of yes. It basically the J.D. McKissick role, right? But he was taking it to the house, and I like J.D.
Yeah.
personally. I think they got to get him more involved.
Look
on
who the
early
receivers
downs,
are: Dax
but-
Milne, DeAndre Carter. Like, come on, guys.
Okay,
These
that's
guys are
Ron's
these guys
fault.
are.
Look,
It's
I'm
you're
not
Ron.
saying it's
Ron's
not
in
Ron's
charge
fault.
of the entire
Look,
building.
LP, you either
I am
blame
agreeing
Ron
with you
or
that it's
you
Ron's
say,
fault.
okay,
What do
so
you're saying that Mitch Trubisky can run this offense
No,
better?
I'm saying he is better than Taylor, Ryan, or Kyle. That's what I'm saying.
agreed. In
And
a
if you have to
quarterback
give up-
room,
I would
he's
take
the
my
better
chances on
quarterback.
Kyle or Taylor
No,
over Mitch
and now,
Trubisky any day.
no. I mean, listen,
Dude,
you're
Mitch
not in a
Trubisky to a-
position. Listen,
to a-
again, you
they're
don't have
all
a quarterback.
garbage.
You've
They
got
don't
to
know
keep
how to
rolling the
throw.
dice in hopes that Trubisky
least-
is Tannehill, right? Tannehill
at
moves
least-
from team to team and he gets better.
At least Heineke
Yeah, I mean,
has
look-
got a gunslinger mentality, and I think that's
Heineke
what
has
the
a
quarterback.
gunslinger mentality
that's
with
what Ron-
zero aim and zero arm strength.
Yeah.
Look,
He can't
Heineke's
throw
great.
people open.
I love
he
his
can't
grit.
get the ball there fast
But
enough. Like,
when you watch every game and you look at the offensive breakdown,
I think you guys
he's
are
missing
completely
receivers
forgetting how
left and
bad
right.
Tua was and how bad Mitch
I
Trubisky
think
is.
you're forgetting what Matt Nagy's doing to Justin Fields and the Bears, and seeing a coach who didn't use his quarterback correctly. And then Mitch
Yeah.
Trubisky, when he went to the Bills through preseason, or when he comes in for a
It's
blowout,
preseason. It's
listen,
preseason.
man, shut up.
You
When
no,
he comes
it's
in,
preseason.
when he comes
no
in,
one
he
schemes.
looks
No
better.
one plays defense. It's preseason.
And that's what we're running into now, right?
Okay.
We're running
You-
into
you
when
go
you
Heineke
are as
Heineke
bad,
and him
listen.
not
When your
I will
team is
tank
as
with
bad
Taylor.
as the Washington football team is right now, any chance you can take to improve your team, again, we don't know what they would have to give up to get Trubisky, but they're not like, I have no faith that this team can draft. Okay, like that's again
Agreed.
to FP's
Yes.
point. Who
Wasted pick.
do you have faith in the war room to get the pick right? And this is not. I mean, the most recent thing is honestly like, again, in hindsight, we can look at Chase and Herbert and say we got the wrong guy here. We got the
guys
wrong
are
guy.
saying this. Okay, 9 other teams got the wrong guy when they didn't draft Herbert.
Listen,
in the
let's put it
Yes,
this way.
you're right.
Mitch
You're
Trubisky-
right.
It happens all the
Trubisky
time.
would have ran
700
over the
other
end zone line
teams.
during the
700
Chiefs
other
game, or
picks
the
were
Packers
bad
game.
when Tom Brady went in the 6th or 7th round or whatever it is. It happens all the time. You got to get lucky. You got to you got to hit on a quarterback.
But we're
You
not
gotta-
lucky. We're cursed.
We're cursed. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, agreed.
the way you get lucky is by making moves, not by settling for your COVID QB that came in off the couch. You have to
Yep.
make moves. You have to take chances. You have to take risk. And maybe Trubisky comes in here and he's amazing. You never know. The point is,
Well, but
you
even
made
if he's
moves.
terrible, what did you lose? Nothing.
Exactly.
You probably lost a
you-
3rd round
You're
pick that you
never
have to
going to
get for
be.
him.
You're never going to
Fine.
be competitive in the NFL if you're not making moves. If you're not constantly evaluating your personnel, adjusting, changing something. Right.
And that's
all we
not
have
something.
is Ron.
I mean, they don't. Yeah. And this
all we have
coaching
is
staff.
Ron saying we're a few
Yeah.
plays away. We're a few players away.
We are not a
Then
few
do
plays away.
something about it.
No way. We're not a few
we're
plays
a
away.
quarterback away
Every game, we're a few plays away
from
from
being
winning.
competitive.
And every
No, this
interview,
team.
we're
This
a
team
few
is
players
missing.
away from a rebuild.
You're telling me
That's
if Aaron
Ron
Rodgers
Rivera.
comes here, we're not competitive?
He's not coming here.
I'm saying
It's
if
not,
he does in a,
he
in a
won't.
fantasy world.
He won't.
If Aaron Rodgers part 2 came here, we got lucky and we
He'll
drafted
get
him.
poked in the eye and his career will end because we're cursed. He's not coming here.
Yes, if Aaron Rodgers comes here, you're winning more games, right? But again, that can also happen with Trubisky and not giving up
No, it
4
can't.
first-round picks.
Trubisky is garbage.
You don't
guys.
know. How
I
many?
do know. I
no,
saw him
hold
with
on,
my
hold
own
on.
eyes.
How many
I-
Bears games did you watch Trubisky play?
Even if your assessment is he's garbage, LP, he's better than anyone on your current roster and likely better than anyone than you're going to be able to get next offseason or in the draft.
Okay,
And
if
that
you
has
want
to
him
be-
next
that has to
offseason,
be
go
worth
ahead,
something.
Go get him next offseason.
Look,
He's
I
going to be
love
there.
Heineke. I love Heineke.
I'd rather have Nick
Through 8
Foles.
games, he's trash.
Give me Nick Foles over Mitch Trubisky. Give me
They're
give me
interchangeable.
Josh
This
Rosen
is
over Mitch
interchangeable
Trubisky.
levels of
I
trash.
mean, Josh
that you're
Rosen was an
referring to.
interesting one too. Like his career flamed out real fast, and that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But
You're talking interchangeable levels of trash, but all that level of trash is better than our current trash.
well, now you
That's
got
what we're
people
trying
like
to
calling
say.
for people calling for Kyle to start. Like, and I don't understand why
It's
you
not
going to
make
either.
any difference.
Well, but
You have
but,
no
but again,
receivers.
but that's another thing where you got to look at Ron and say he got this one wrong. Like Ron traded to get like, why would you trade a 5th round pick to get a guy and just to park him on your bench to go grab a guy off of a couch and have him play? Like Ron, like it's not. This isn't personal, but what has he done right? Where do you hang? Like if you're evaluating him, or if you want to say something positive about the Ron
letting
Rivera
Haskins
era,
go early, making the switch to. I think he played the quarterback position well last year, adjusting middle of the season to I'm gonna see
Alex
what we
Smith.
have. We're gonna teach our players how to win.
He was
to
forced into
we
that
have an
move. He was
opportunity to
forced
win the
into those
division
moves.
now. No, he
Is
wasn't
there
forced.
anything?
He wasn't forced into winning. That's dumb.
He was forced into ditching Haskins
He
because
saw an
Haskins,
opportunity and he went for it because
Well, he didn't want
you
Haskins,
give
and
him-
that was
you give him too
pretty
much credit.
well stated too.
You give
didn't
Ron
want
too much
Adrian-
credit. Haskins blew up his own career, made it easy for Ron to get rid of him, bring in Alex. Alex got hurt, made it easy for Kyle Allen to come in until Alex was healthy. Alex comes in, rips off a couple wins, goes down. Heineke comes in, does magic against Tampa Bay in the wild card. None of those are true.
Heineke was literally on the couch 3 weeks ago.
Listen,
pulling
none
Heineke
of those-
into this
none of
franchise.
those
is a
Pulling,
win.
you can give Ron credit for grabbing him off the couch and knowing
Yeah.
who he is and plugging him in. Fine,
But that's not good coaching.
that's right.
That's
he had to.
stumbling into something that
Haskins
happened.
was 100%. He was benchable with or without injury based on his performance.
So if Joe and FP were the owners of the Washington football team, you'd fire Rivera right now.
Nobody's saying fire Rivera.
You're giving him all the blame. If someone
He deserves all the
blamed,
blame. He
he's the
said
coach.
the buck stops with me. He gets the blame. Who
okay,
do
so
you want
are
to
you
blame?
firing him?
No,
Are you firing
look,
him?
I'm not
No.
a fan of mid-season firing.
Are you gonna fire him at
I've
the end of the
never
season?
bought into that. Never.
You're firing him at the end of the season if trajectory goes as it is today.
If they win 4 games, I mean, if they end up in a worse position than they did last year, forget about playoffs. But if they win less games than last year with an extra game on the schedule, yeah, he's done. I think that's reasonable. You know, if you come in if you finish the season realistically with 4 or 5 wins, yeah, you can't be here. You can't. It's not going to work.
It's
Listen,
4 or
look,
5
I'll-
wins is
I'll-
going to
I'll
happen.
give-
I'm telling
listen.
you, this roster is not good enough. Like,
It's
I'll
his
tell you this.
roster.
I'll
it's
tell you this:
half
Ron
broken.
Rivera
It's-
gets one more year.
He
It's
is the
half
one that brought
broken.
these guys in.
But it's half broken.
Okay,
It's
but
his.
it's
I-
his
I mean,
roster.
These
Listen.
are his moves.
How are you
his
going to blame him
coaches.
for Curtis
It's
Samuel
his
not
head
being able to
athletic
take care of
trainer.
a groin injury?
Curtis Samuel is injury prone in Carolina. All he did was
He
burn us
literally
one
brought
game
all
last year.
of the Carolinas into the Washingtons, and like I know we talked about it, like, and Snyder's pretending to be hands off. I get it, but I'm not okay with that either. He was thrown out of Carolina.
Yeah, we got rid of the Bruce Allen Tampa cronies, and then we just got the Ron Rivera Carolina.
Yeah, we got the
cronies.
Carolinas.
and
I mean,
all the other coaches. Like
I'm not arguing that he shouldn't be held accountable for this and that he's responsible for this because he said from day one,
you literally just
I'm in
argued
charge,
that.
right? I'm saying I wouldn't fire him even at the end of the season.
I'll tell you
You
what.
How many
you
more
can't-
listen,
seasons do you
we
give
we
him?
cannot keep fire higher. Like we brought in the Super Bowl winning coach in Shanahan. We brought in the up and comer in Gruden. We brought in the proven culture changer in Rivera. Like all of these things flame out, right? At some point, it's not all the coaches that we bring in. It's maybe their management. Maybe it's
There's
the owner.
only one person
but
that has
Ron
been here
brought
from
in
the
the
beginning.
GMs. Yeah, well, we were not going to get into Dan, but listen,
No,
how
he's-
about
he's-
this, LP? Hold on. This conversation is going to go nowhere. How about this? Let's say you give Ron next year, okay? Hypothetically, doesn't get fired this year. You give him his 3rd year, okay? I personally, if he's getting a 3rd year, I will go ballistic. I will go crazy if Ron does what Ron has been doing, and it's that stick to his guns mentality of I'm right, you're wrong, and he changes nothing going into year 3. JDR is still here. The trash free agents that he brought are still here. The schemes are still here. We're still not doing any moves to address quarterback. If he goes into year 3 with nothing changing, you cannot say at that point you can't get rid of Ron. He has to go at that point.
Yeah, he has to go get his quarterback. He has to go try to get a quarterback before year 3.
Well,
Okay.
apparently
And
he
then how
tried,
do
and you're saying no, he shouldn't be trying.
Right.
No,
So
he-
how do you
Two of us
address
are
getting
pro
a quarterback?
Trubisky. Come,
He
yeah,
tried
try.
with-
Why not?
He tried with Stafford. I like that. Tried with someone good, right?
Try with someone good.
Good isn't coming.
We
here,
don't.
Okay. You need to
Anything
put that
right
out of
now
your
is
head.
better than what we have.
Agreed.
I just don't think Mitch Trubisky is better than what. Do you think Tua is better than what we have?
Mitch Trubisky.
I don't want
would've
Tua. We
ran-
have Tua. I already said this. It's
Mitch
not a hot
Trubisky
take.
would have
We already
ran
said
Said anything
over
that we
the end
have,
zone line.
anything that we bring in is better than what we have.
No,
Yes,
Tua.
dude.
No. Trubisky is a
Taylor Heineke kneed himself down before crossing the end zone line. Mitch Trubisky doesn't do that.
Okay, Kirk Cousins spiked the ball on 4th down.
Okay.
It's true.
Yeah, well, so
He's
what?
also got 30,000 career passing yards.
Exactly.
And has thrown
Exactly.
104
You can't make a
touchdowns since
mistake.
he left-
Are you
since he left
combining
here.
Taylor Heineke to Kirk? That's a
Aaron
stupid
Rodgers.
comparison.
Aaron Rodgers went and told Taylor Heineke that when he dove for the end zone and the knee went down, he said, "Hey, dude, I did the same thing like 5 years ago."
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay, are you
look,
comparing Aaron Rodgers to Taylor Heineke?
I don't wanna kill
understand
Taylor.
what
No, I'm
you're
just
doing.
saying you're killing a guy for making a mistake
no one's
Okay, but
killing
he's
him,
making
but
lots
he's
of mistakes because he's
the
not
value
an elevated
because
talent.
he's not that good.
the value
Okay,
in Taylor
exactly.
playing
Thank
right
you.
now is that he's getting reps. So he's going to be a backup in the league, and I think he's deserving of that position. He's not a starter. I don't think that's a reach anymore. He's not the guy. And if you've got a chance to bring it, I think he's better than Kyle Allen. And I think, again, the point I made a little while ago, Rivera traded for Kyle Allen, a 5th-round pick. That 5th-round pick arguably is more valuable than the guy just sitting now in your 3rd QB position. Like, why bother with the trade? Like, when you look at Rivera holistically here, the moves that have been made, there's very little favorable that can be said about his offseason maneuvering or his like in-season adjustments. I mean, Hopkins, the kicking thing, we haven't even really talked about it, and I don't think we need to discuss it very like, we don't have to get into the weeds of it. That was a terrible decision.
I remember in the summer when we signed Ryan Fitzpatrick, everyone was like, "Oh, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's so good. He's never been on a team with this many weapons," and everyone was all up Ron's butt in praises for signing Fitzpatrick and a gunslinger. And
I was one of those people.
and
But then his hip exploded, and Curtis Samuel. Turns out Curtis Samuel came here with an injury.
You're judging a guy for something that you were praising him for the exact same thing just 4 months ago. That's what I'm saying.
Look. All right, look at Matt LaFleur, right? Aaron Rodgers,
And it's not
COVID.
you;
Hold on.
it's every Washington football fan.
Look at this. But all we're saying is this, right? Matt LaFleur, Aaron Rodgers gets COVID. He goes out immediately, gets Blake Bortles, right? Not the best quarterback, but brings somebody in to back up Jordan Love, right? Ron Rivera, Fitzpatrick goes down, nothing. We're all right. Heineke,
Because
Kyle
we already
Allen.
have 2 quarterbacks.
Okay.
You don't need to carry 4 quarterbacks.
Is
All we're
Bortles
saying
better
is-
than anything on our roster today?
No.
That one's a hard one to debate, but
It's
Bortles-
debatable.
it's possible.
Bortles and
It's
Trubisky
possible.
are on the same trajectory.
I mean, Phillip Rivers is sitting out there.
Yeah, I would have
Rivers
loved
And I
said he
said
would
this
go to
on
the
I said
Saints.
this on the other show, right? I said this a couple days ago. Like, if you're Sean Payton and Nola with the Saints, you're sitting at 5-2. You got to be calling Drew Brees, be like, "Hey, buddy, we love you. Come back, get out of the booth." If he says no, Phillip Rivers is the next phone call, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So,
I mean, I would have
those guys
loved
are out
Phillip
there.
Rivers over Fitzpatrick.
but the difference is Phillip Rivers or Drew Brees, they're not going to come to DC because it's a bad team. It's a bad team
Yeah, and it's a bad organization.
with bad
think the
coaching
point
and bad
is,
ownership, bad
Ron is
stadium, bad
looking at
weather.
this team,
Right.
and no
Especially
moves are
someone like
being
that.
made. Right? We're stuck. The point is, all these other coaches are making moves. They're trying anything to get the win. Ron is being old man. I'm right, you're wrong. No changes.
Yeah, he's
just
like
evaluating.
I mean, he
He
sounds
is
like
making
some of the
moves.
politicians
He's
in
moved
this town,
Landon Collins
that-
to linebacker.
He moved
He's
to Landon
sat
Collins
Jamin
4
Davis.
weeks too late.
Yeah,
Yeah,
4 weeks too late.
But he made the move. You said
Okay,
he's not
and then
making
okay,
they still lost
he
the
made the
game.
move,
He sat
and then
Jamin Davis.
immediately, we told other teams that Landon Collins is available for trade.
We
So our
didn't tell-
depleted linebacking
we
core.
didn't
Hold on,
tell anybody, and if we told somebody, it wouldn't matter because we're just podcast people.
don't be that guy.
If
and play
Ron
semantics
told
with me.
somebody-
Shut up.
Yeah, why is
don't play
LP here?
semantics.
No,
Don't
no,
play
no.
semantics with me.
You
This is a
didn't- you
grown
don't
up
know
podcast.
that- No.
Listen.
My point is, you don't know that anyone in the organization said, "Hey, Landon Collins is available."
Yes,
You
we
didn't know-
do.
you
It was
don't know that.
announced.
We do.
It
know
was
that.
announced.
It was not announced. It was
Yes,
a
it was.
report by some blue
It
checkmark
was.
donkey.
It was.
Show me. Show me.
Get
the-
on Twitter. Get on like the rest of the world and go
Show
look for
me where
yourself.
it
Did you
was-
just call
Just type
JP
it in.
Finley a blue checkmark donkey? or
JP
Grant
Finley
Paulson?
did not.
It's incredible, man.
Neither of them tweeted
Listen,
that. It was some other
the
guy
point
who
is-
Look, it
know
doesn't
the
matter.
organization.
It doesn't matter because Landon Collins was never gonna. No one wants Landon Collins. Okay, the whole point of this for the last 30 minutes has been they tried to get Trubisky. We may have dodged a bullet by not getting him. That being said, I find myself on the pro Trubisky side of this equation because he's better than anything else you've got. And if he comes in and you're not going to be in a position with a high draft pick to draft one. And there isn't. It's a kind of a weaker quarterback draft class anyway.
Weakest in like 10 years.
Yeah, so like you've got to try something. I mean, the team is not going to improve itself. I mean, that's very clear. They're not just going to figure it out. The defense isn't just going to figure it out. And if that means you're dangling even 99, yeah, fine, dangle him. Like this team is not good enough. There isn't a single piece on it that is good enough that you're saying like I have to build around it. And frankly, Montez Sweat apparently today went down.
Ready
Did you
to
see that too?
sell everybody. Yeah, the fractured
he
jaw.
broke his jaw.
Yeah, does he need his jaw to like run and tackle? I don't know.
He's on a restricted diet, which basically means he's eating fluids for the next several weeks.
It's going to make it
which means
really
he's
hard for
losing
him and
all
Chase to
his
get
muscles.
the combined sack record, right?
He's going to be a reverso Laron Landry. Get zero
Yeah, or-
muscles.
Yeah, whatever.
Or
I think
Rackbo.
we'll just agree to disagree on the Mitch Trubisky thing.
Yeah, we both agree that you're wrong.
Yeah, we agree you're not
Okay.
normal. Or
Okay.
not. You just haven't watched enough football.
You guys
maybe.
go. You guys go. Well, let's see what happens with.
I need
with him
everybody
next
to
year.
know. I need everybody to know the LP on the side. All this hate that he gives Mitch Trubisky, his guy on the side that he would love to see come here is Drew Lock.
Yeah, I love Drew Lock
Why? What have you
because he's a
seen from Drew
gunslinger.
Lock?
He's young.
Is Drew Lock better than Mitch Trubisky?
Yes, 100%. Drew
How much-
Lock in this
Hold on.
offense.
How many Drew Lock games have you watched? How many Mitch Trubisky games have you watched? A grand total of 4, maybe. Not even each, just a grand total.
What
of
is
4.
it
Lock
about
has
Drew
only
Lock
played,
that
like,
has you
3
just all over
he's,
his jock?
He's
What
a
is it?
gunslinger. He's
Gunslinger.
yeah. He throws the ball. I hate when I see a quarterback and their stat line is 12 for 16 for 54 yards. That's Mitch
Like Taylor
Trubisky.
Heineke, 12 for 6.
You would
The
you
point
want
that
a Drew
JD
Lock?
McKissick
You
has
want
the most
I'd rather
receptions out of
have-
the
you want
backfield.
12 for 40, right? 12 of 40 for 62 yards instead.
I'll take 31 of 42 for 434 yards.
Well, I don't understand why you
Let-
want a
let's-
gunslinger, but you
You think this
you're
offense
also
is
not
good
gonna
enough for
pull up
42
Drew Lock.
passing attempts?
I don't know. I'm gonna pull up Drew Lock stats. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Well,
Okay, you go do that.
While you do
FP,
that,
let's get off the stupid football team. Okay, they're on bye week.
Please.
They're ruining Sunday here on a Wednesday night. Let's not talk about them. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers for a second. He's today, he's COVID positive or whatever the correct term is. He's gonna miss some time. Like I didn't think a second. Like I didn't care. Like I saw the headline, I was like, oh, that sucks for my fantasy team. But again, no one cares about my fantasy team, and I don't care about anybody else's fantasy team. Whatever. It's not real life. But like I didn't give it a second thought. And then in our little WhatsApp chat, the DTC chat, everyone's like they're trying to cancel Aaron Rodgers, and I went back and looked, and sure enough, everybody's pulling up like his quotes from the summer that he didn't say he was vaccinated, but he kind of led everyone to believe that everyone in the building was vaccinated.
I mean, he knew
Like
what he was
I
saying
don't
and what
personally
he
I
was
don't
doing.
care about any of this stuff, but like is this a big deal? Like it's not a big
No.
deal to me.
If the
Did
Green Bay
Drew Lock
Packers
play a game
knew,
this year?
no, he's not good enough to be on the
Yeah,
team.
I see him. He
LP,
played one game.
no one cares. I'm mute you.
He
from
was
talking about
12
Drew
for
Lock anymore.
21 and 113 yards.
Wow,
That's-
he's so good.
that's
Amazing.
Bring him here.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how many minutes did he play? That was probably less than a half.
Yeah.
Anyways, look back to Aaron Rodgers. If the Green Bay Packers knew he wasn't vaxxed and the NFL said, no, being immunized doesn't count, so you're not vaxxed, so you have to follow the unvaxxed protocol. If the NFL knew, Green Bay knew, Aaron Rodgers knew, it's not a story, right? It's not a story. And now
But
people are like, oh,
apparently he's
he's on the sideline without the mask. Everybody's on the sideline without a mask. All of them are. Or if they're wearing the mask, they're
press
fake wearing the mask.
conferences.
Kirk is wearing his mask.
Yeah.
But
Aaron's
I
not
just
wearing a
don't
mask in
care.
the
I just
conference.
don't
Yeah.
care. Put me in the this doesn't matter anymore. I don't
It
care.
does not matter.
Camp.
No. Yeah.
Like it's only
This is
it's
just-
only
This is
the
cancel culture
blues
finding
and
something
the
to
blue
jump
check
on.
marks that care about this. Like
Mhm.
this is not a thing anymore. Or maybe I'm just over it. I think it's stupid, but I mean the real story that people should be talking about with Aaron Rodgers now missing at least one game is the backup that was drafted there that upset him, right? That the whole thing, that the rift that started because they drafted Love behind him. We're gonna get to see him play. You know, I don't know.
I'm
like,
excited to watch Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, Green Bay is. I mean, his draft or his trade stock was probably pretty high to begin with. He's sitting behind one of the best to ever do it. I mean, what if he comes out and he shines? Like, there's really only two scenarios, right? If he steps in admirably and does what Rodgers has been doing, it's very reminiscent of what happened to Favre when Rodgers came in, right?
Right.
And he was able
and this
to.
is against
maybe,
the poorest Chiefs defense.
Exactly. I mean, if he comes in and shines, like, ooh, that's a. I mean,
It's a good story.
That's a good storyline, right? If he comes in and he stinks, that's a good storyline too, because he'll
plays
be
into
traded.
Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
He'll be
And
traded,
and
right?
you almost want to, like, if you want to go conspiracy theory, it's almost like Aaron Rodgers essentially would love for this to happen and would love for Jordan Love to come out and look like trash so that he regains all the control over the Green Bay Packers and his future.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even think of that, but you're right. I think he's going to be okay. I mean, they're still missing a ton of receivers. Like, they're not that unit, the whole unit. I don't think it'll be a fair assessment of what Love can or can't do, but it's interesting to me that Rodgers finds himself in a very similar situation that Favre found himself in the same team, 15, 16 years apart. That there's a guy that was drafted to basically learn from the legend.
Mm-hmm.
The legend wasn't happy about it. And then for one reason or another, the legend can't play. The backup gets a shot. If he comes in and he shines, I mean, that Green Bay might be ready to part with Rodgers. He's not coming here, LP. So before you do the whole Rodgers to Washington bit, no, he's not coming here. But I mean, if they don't need him, if they're confident in the backup, yeah, maybe we see him moved in the offseason. Or maybe he just moves him on his own.
If the backup goes 12 for 26, 156 yards, LP is going to want him to come here because those are some Drew Lock numbers.
Okay, so FB, would you? I mean, I would take Love right now, knowing nothing about him. He can't be worse than what we have. He can't.
I'll take Love over Mitch Trubisky any day.
I'm not talking about Trubisky guy. I'm talking about the guys on the roster right now.
Yeah, I take him over the guys on the roster, of course.
Yeah, I would too.
I mean, he's a first-round pick. First-round pick versus two non-first-round
Haskins
picks.
was a first-round pick. Jason Campbell was a first-round pick. Patrick Ramsey was a first-round pick. Who am I missing? Heath Schuler, a first-round pick.
Ryan Leaf.
Yeah. Justin Fields. He's poop.
Mitch Trubisky.
Sam Darnold.
Well, Darnold
I
is
take
broken.
Darnold. I take Darnold.
I don't understand.
Darnold is
I
better.
don't know what football you're watching.
Darnold is better than anything. I mean, look at the first 4 games. Darnold's better than anything that
How about the next 4 games?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's on the Panthers.
Huge fall off for Sam Darnold in the second 4 games.
The Packers storyline is interesting too because I have them as the number 1 seed right now. Obviously, the Aaron Rodgers thing is gonna change things a bit, but I'm just curious. Like my top 10. My top 10, going backwards, was Chargers, Ravens, Raiders, Titans. Although that's going to change now with Henry out. The Bucks, Cowboys, Bills, Cardinals, Rams, and then Packers. So, like, if I was redoing this right now, I think the Packers would have to slide down probably below the Rams and the Cardinals, even though they beat the Cardinals last week. Rodgers is too important to that team. He's arguably the best quarterback in the league, and like all the Brady GOAT stuff, yes, he's deserving of that, but Rodgers has consistently gotten it done as well, and I think he's almost underappreciated, if that's even possible. He's really good. I mean, really, really good, and he's made a ton of wide receivers, in his day, obviously in Green Bay, that have come and gone. He's special. I mean, he's really good.
I mean, he's MVP winning or top runner up every year, it seems, with one stud wide receiver, right? Maybe if you factor in that he also has Aaron Jones, okay. But I mean,
this is the first time
he's doing a lot.
Yeah, he's never really had a good running game behind him. I mean,
he's never had a good running game, but he's had good receivers. He's had Devontae Farrell.
But also, there's that stat
Randall
line
Cobb.
that Matt LaFleur is like the most winningest coach in his first 30 games or whatever. That's all Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, Matt LaFleur is a great coach. I wish he was still here. But all that praise he gets, that's Aaron Rodgers, right? McVay doing what he did with Goff is more impressive than what LaFleur is doing with Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, Goff is an interesting one too. I mean, that's a rough team, rough situation.
Oh my gosh,
in
dude! You
Detroit.
take your Goff and your Mitch Trubisky stuff out of here. Both of them are trash.
I mean, I didn't say I wanted Goff here. He's
No,
still
no,
better than anyone on our
I would
roster.
take
though.
Mitch over Goff.
I mean, I would too, but either one of them is better than what we currently have on the roster. That's all I'm saying. That's the point I keep going back to, right? We don't have a lot of talent at the quarterback position in Washington, and Ron and the front office needs to figure out how to improve the most important position in sports and team sports quickly, and they don't seem to have an interest in doing so, or really a solution to do it. And swapping Kyle in and Taylor out, that doesn't fix it. I'm personally, if Ryan is healthy, if Fitzpatrick is healthy and able to throw the ball, he's got to go in. He's the savvy veteran. He's the one that can identify defenses quickly, right? That like
Take it
Taylor's
off the
still
Throw
table.
capable.
He's
receivers
not healthy.
open, hit
Take it off the
receivers in
table.
stride.
Right.
Here,
Take it off
the
the
problem
table.
is Ron Rivera has gone on record saying
How did we end up back here?
Well, yeah, well, stop. We're done with Ron
I'm just-
Rivera and Washington.
Go ahead,
he went on record saying he's not going to mortgage draft picks to bring a guy in. So how do you bring an Aaron Rodgers in? How do you bring a Russell Wilson in? How do you bring
None of
the
those
good guys
franchises
in?
mortgaged anything to get those players.
Someone go ask Ron why he cut the long snapper, then drafted a crappier version of the same guy. Someone go ask him that.
Yeah.
Right?
If you had
Ask-
Sundberg here,
Cheaper
Ask him
minimum.
what an
Hopkins-
85% field goal kicker did to upset him randomly on a Monday, that he replaced him with a guy who can't clear the line when he's trying to drill, field goals.
It's literally me kicking a field goal.
But then Ron goes on record and he's like, "Guys, you're not gonna find a 90% kicker in the middle of the season, right? But we can go ahead and cut."
We had an
the
85% guy.
Exactly. It may just back to last season. There's just a lot of things that don't make sense. There's a lot of internal decisions that just make no sense with Ron.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
And he's got staff being investigated by the feds. And he's got an owner who can't get out of his own way because he's got emails about every other owner and executive in the league. This is a
Literally
bad
the best
situation.
thing that can happen to Washington is a change in ownership. I mean,
Honestly, the
that's
best thing
the
that can
only
happen to
solution
the
at this point.
NFL, if we want to shift, the best thing that can happen to the NFL is they throw Dan to the Sharks, get everybody to back off so that these emails don't get released, all the owners don't come under fire, the cancel culture doesn't just try to take down the shield.
Dan's way
If
too
you're the
powerful.
NFL, no,
He's
if
too
you're the
powerful.
NFL,
He's
Dan
not.
won't go quietly.
if you're the NFL
mean,
and you're 31 other owners,
John
I would
Gruden's not going
sacrifice Dan.
quietly. He's
Yeah.
he's suing Goodell and the
Personally,
NFL.
I think Goodell's got to go too. I think
Yeah.
like Snyder will be, Snyder will sell the team if he's forced to, right? He's gonna make a boatload of money. You'll be fine. Goodell is the one that's really got the problem here, right? I mean, he's earned $144 million in 2 seasons, right? And he's trying to
Yeah,
bury
but the
emails.
owners love him. The owners love him.
I understand, but they're not gonna give themselves up to protect him.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's that won't happen, and he's not policing the league the way that the other commissioners do. So it's a tricky situation for him. But look, I mean, I guess we talked the Rodgers thing into the ground. Is there any other storylines you want to talk about around the NFL? I mean, Deshaun obviously didn't get traded. That shouldn't surprise anyone. Houston's got 2 studs in 2 different sports in the same town, sitting at home doing nothing and getting paid their full freight. John Wall and Deshaun Watson, both just sitting at home in Houston, making boatloads of cash to not play their respective sports, which I don't know if that's ever happened. And obviously they had the Astros going in the World Series. They lost. But like Houston, something weird going on in Houston. Like Deshaun, I never bought the argument that he was going to waive his no trade. Like if he's getting paid his full amount, his full salary and not playing, why would he go play? Like why? Why? He's under contract. Why would he go play?
How is he not at least on the exemption list?
There's no
Goodell
criminal
could-
charges yet.
Yeah, there's no charges.
Hmm.
The thought is if he tries to play, Goodell would put him on the list. Right, but right now, Houston, like if you're the Texans, you should be pissed. Like you're paying this guy his full salary to not play.
So everything is in civil court with him?
It's not even. It's in the
No,
investigative
yeah,
stage.
nothing.
Nothing.
He hasn't even given a deposition yet. Nothing
Nothing.
legal has happened yet.
But he
I
can't
think-
but he can't come to DC. And all the DC people saying, "Oh, he would be a perfect fit here." No, he would not. You can't have a guy with 22 sexual charge allegations against him coming to the place with sexual charge allegations up and down the front office. Like you can't. No.
I have a
Yeah, but
storyline
also
that requires
all the allegations against Washington is against a staff that's no longer here, other than the owner.
Doesn't matter. It's a public. Look, you're also changing the name of the franchise soon, right? I mean, supposedly, your quarterback, whoever it is at the time, is going to be the face of the franchise and the new name. Like,
I agree. The
can't
best
do that
thing for
around Deshaun.
Deshaun would be to sit out the year, let the court system, justice system play out, and if he's free, you know,
He's
there's-
getting paid,
there's-
baby.
he's in.
He's not going anywhere.
I think there's another storyline.
He's
we
not
need
playing
to
in Houston
discuss,
though.
and
Either he's never going to
that's
play or
OBJ.
he's going to get traded. What?
We need to discuss OBJ and
Why?
his tantrum.
He's washed up.
His dad coming out saying he needs to be on another team. OBJ wanting to be on another team. Kevin Stefanski not denying that OBJ is off the team. Right? Baker Mayfield saying if he's here, we'll use him. I mean, it's just for a second. For a second during the trade deadline, I kind of wanted OBJ. Right? I would have taken a shot on him, but I mean,
he's 27, 28 years old. He's not that old.
He's not. He's
Yeah,
not
but
old.
He's got so many issues. Like it's at some point, it's not the Giants, it's not the Browns, it's him. Like you've already been in two organizations,
right
the same
now.
thing.
I mean, it's a little bit the Browns.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the Browns roster than the Washington's roster.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we've seen
Oh yeah,
how
I
many
forgot
teams
Joe's
go through a
the
successful
underground
rebuild.
Browns fan. You've been on the
what?
Browns bandwagon for
You don't want the
since
Browns
the
roster?
start-
You don't want that
start of the
defense over our
podcast.
shit defense?
I
You
would
don't
take
want- you don't
Myles
want a
Garrett over
quarterback?
Chase.
You don't want
Yes, I would,
interchangeable
I
stud
would.
running backs that just come and go and churn out
I would.
100-yard games?
I would.
Okay.
I'm just saying I'm not a Browns fan. I'm not a
I'm
Not a
not a Browns fan
Cleveland.
either. I want to be a fan of a team that wins.
I'm not
And
an
a team
Ohio
and
person.
and coaches and an owner that give a shit. That's what I want. I want to not be miserable every Sunday night and Monday because the team that I've grown up and cheered for my entire life literally doesn't give two Fs about.
If you
the
don't want to
fans.
be miserable, watch the Caps and the Wizards. That'll cheer
Yo,
you
the
up.
Wizards. Can we talk about the Wizards for a second, or you want to talk about Caps first? FP. Well, let's do Caps first, and then LP. Get your thoughts together on the NBA because there's a lot to dissect with the NBA right now. But FP, the Capitals, a lot of injuries, a lot of young guys, a lot of talent, a lot of young studs. It looks like on this roster. Panthers will be a good one for them tomorrow night. It feels like a good test for them.
It's an absolutely great test because the Panthers are definitely top 3-4 teams that are Stanley Cup favorites. And all the rookies on the team, everything that's going on with the Caps, the only headline you need to know is Ovechkin is smelling blood in the water for going after the goal Gretzky record. So he's playing amazing, right? He was star of the month for the first month, like highest honor that a player gets in season, whatever. But then on top of that, you have Kuzi playing an amazing game. And then on top of that, you have Wilson leading the league with like assists almost, and he's sniffing the goal a lot, and he's ready to go off and start scoring. So it's nice to see that the big guys coming into the team or that are on this team performing and doing what's required of them. And that's all we're seeing from the Caps at this point. Your defense is playing great. Vitek and Samsonov, they're both at this point interchangeably good.
Yes.
And which is a luxury to have for this team.
Stability stability
Yeah.
It's
it's gotten to the point where like I'm not missing Holtby anytime anymore, right? Like I'm over his loss. I'm happy with the goaltending. I'm happy with the team. And Laviolette's put together a good team. Like we're strong on the ice, and if you watch every single game, you're getting a different Caps team every single game. Right?
He tinkers a lot.
And he's tinkering
tinkers
a
with the
lot.
lines a lot. I don't know if that's like an
he's
early season
making
thing where
adjustments.
he's just kind of feeling everybody out and kind of, or maybe it's more situational. Maybe he feels like
it's more being in year 2 of coaching this team and knowing his players' strengths and how to pair them up. And he's doing brilliantly with it. I mean, and the Metro is just insane this year, right? And I mean, you have the Penguins, they're not doing so hot. Crosby was hurt, now he has COVID, whatever. The Caps team is so fun to watch. And I mean, to lead into the Wizards team, they're definitely outperforming in the first and the start of the season, right? Wizards super outperforming everybody's expectations. The East altogether is outperforming everyone's expectations in the NBA. And I mean, it's just thank God we have these teams and we don't have to look at the Washington football team.
Yeah, they give us something that breaks up the sports calendar a little bit, right? Like Sundays and Mondays are, unfortunately, even Saturday to some extent, dominated by the football team. But the Capitals have looked good. It's a young season, obviously. The Wizards too. Wizards, LP, they've got 4 or 5 guys that can play 3, almost 4 positions at any point, depending on, matchups. I wasn't big on the Unseld hire for coach, but he's actually got them playing some defense. I mean, this is a balanced team. I won't say they're good or great or anything like that, but they're getting contributions night in and night out from Dimwitty, from KCP, they're getting, even like Beal obviously missed one, but
Trez being your lifeblood, your energy coming in.
Yeah. I mean, Davis went down with an injury, I think, yesterday. But other than that, for the most part, they've been healthy and they look
escaped a big injury with Gafford.
Yes.
He had the quad contusion last week.
All right, and he played tonight.
He couldn't even walk off the court. So big relief that it was just a bruise or whatever it is, and he's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, with him out, you were left with one center for a stretch of like 4 games, right? And Kyle Kuzma stepped in, played a lot of minutes. You're right. I mean, there's a lot of 3s, a lot of 4s on the team. There's 2 Montrezl
5s. Harrell to me has been
a 1-1.
Harrell has been Montrezl playing great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6th man of the year multiple times. Like he's been
him
great throughout his career.
Right now. He needs a contract extension like tonight.
And I think you ship out Thomas Bryant when he's back. I mean, if you can get anything for him, I think you let him go.
But I don't think you can, and I think that's probably a reason that you keep him. Like I don't think you lose anything by holding on to him.
I mean, pre-injury, he was pretty good. I mean, he's 18 and 10, 20 and 10.
He's a
18
Laker
and 8.
turned
Yeah.
Laker turned Wizard. Yeah.
He's
Neto's been
good.
playing great too. I mean,
and the thing with Dinwiddie is though he's not your typical point guard. So we're used to seeing John Wall for 10 years or whatever it was, and then Russell Westbrook, right? These fast, shifty guys you're going to drive to the bucket. He's different, right? He's not built like a point guard. He's 6'7". He's tall. He's not like it's a completely different team. It's weird seeing it, but it's awesome seeing Beal not have to put up 35 every night, and it's awesome seeing him not even shoot that many baskets a night. So the team is deep. There's a lot of players that are putting up the numbers, putting up points. Kuzma, I would say, to me, is the biggest surprise. I was not high on him at all. Probably been the second best player on the team so far. Maybe the third, right?
Maybe third.
Dinwiddie's
Maybe third. But I mean, the Wizards,
good, but yeah,
they're playing. I mean, they've dropped 2 in a row if you count tonight's loss. But overall, I mean, they are, they're right in the middle of the table basically in the Eastern Conference. I mean, the Heat and the Sixers look to be the best, maybe the best 2 teams. The Bulls not too far behind. I mean, the Bulls are really a really balanced team as well. I don't know.
You even have the Knicks playing at a better level.
I mean, the Knicks are sitting there at 5-3 as well. I watched the only full game I watched was the opener for them against Boston, and like I think I remember telling you guys, like, there's nothing like Madison Square Garden when the Knicks are good, right? Like,
yeah,
it is the center of the basketball universe for sure when the Knicks are on. They haven't been on in a long time. I mean, a really long time. It's a good-looking team as well. I think more of the surprises, though, to me, are out in the West. If you look at the Western Conference, I mean, the Lakers basically started 2-3 or 1-3, and have pulled 3-game winning streak together. The Jazz look really good now that they got their full complement of players. The Warriors finally look like the Warriors that we remember watching a few years ago, even though they've got some nice pieces there. I think Otto's on that team now too, right? Did I see that somewhere?
I think he is.
Now?
Yeah, he's on there.
The Suns are probably the surprise, sitting at 3-3. The Spurs. When was the last time
it's early
Spurs with a losing record? 2-5 for the Spurs. Like that's a little bit shocking to see as well. But I mean, the NBA season is long, and I'm probably one of the few. Maybe LP, you're probably one of the few as well. That I could probably watch any NBA game if it's on TV. Like, and if I have time, like if I flip something, if it's on, I'll sit down and watch it. And it just looks like there's more defense. And I don't know if that's, I mean, there's a lot of 3-pointers and some defense, which is kind of a weird combination, but that's what I'm seeing. And frankly, I think that plays pretty well or into the strengths of the Wizards team. I mean, they can defend on the perimeter. They've got some grit in the paint as well. They like to run, although not as much as years past. And there was one comment I saw somewhere on Twitter, LP, is there a chance that John Wall would come back here?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, is there a spot for him? I mean,
Well, there's also
I love him,
the Tatum trade rumors, right, from Boston.
Yes, I don't.
So
But
then,
see,
what
I
do you
don't-
do
I put
there?
a lot of weight.
I don't
Like,
see
he's
John
too good.
wanting to come as a backup.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it either. It's really more of
I'd
just,
put a little bit of weight on Beal being all in for Tatum coming here.
yeah, of course.
they're high
I
school
mean,
buds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying more weight on that than Wall ever returning.
No, I mean, Wall is more of just the storyline of him coming back, but it's impossible. His salary is too big. There's
What's
too
his
much
deal?
Could
He
you
just doesn't
could
wanna
you
play in
imagine
Houston?
for a second it's 2022 and we somehow have Wall back and Kirk Cousins back? Because those are both technically possible.
Kirk's not coming back, man.
I'd
It's
love
possible.
to have
I don't
Kirk
think the
back.
Vikings want Kirk after this year.
They
I think the
won't.
Vikings
Kirk
explode
fandom runs
after this
deep.
year.
No, but he'll end up somewhere else, man.
My
He'll
Kirk
end up
fandom
going to
runs deep.
somewhere.
LP would love Kirk. Love Kirk back here.
Yeah, it's been the best quarterback we've had in my
I
lifetime.
mean, depending on what happens in San Francisco, I can see Kirk going that way. Personally, he's going to
See,
go
I could
somewhere where
see
he
I could
knows.
see Aaron Rodgers going there.
Wow, that's
I
possible
could see
too.
Aaron Rodgers going to San Francisco.
Maybe Kirk
Yeah.
goes to New Orleans. That'll be weird
Or
to
to
see.
Denver. Denver, he'd fit really
Yeah.
nicely in Denver. He'd fit really nicely in New Orleans with Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Kirk
Well,
is going to
well-
be fine. He's going to get paid a ton of money. He's got one good contract in him. It's the next one. He's going to be just fine. And if he can get himself into a better coached situation, maybe we see something different from him. Maybe.
I mean, at this point, you have to reward any QB that's as Iron Man as Kirk or some of these players, or a Russell Wilson who, for like the first time in 10 years, missed 3 games. I mean, you got to reward those guys.
Yeah,
We're
I
done
think
talking about
Kirk
the
is going to be
NFL.
looking for stable coaching, and New Orleans is going to be at the top of that list. They don't have their quarterback on that roster right now.
I know we're done talking about the NFL, but we also have to eventually do a show about the destruction that Tampa Bay is going to bring to us, because it's also their bye week, and Tom Brady's pissed that he lost to
Oh,
the Saints.
I actually think the football team wins that game.
Maybe if we had Mitch Trubisky.
I'm doing a zig. I'm doing a zag thing. I know.
More
but-
realistically, I can see us dropping Tampa Bay, going on a run, and being 10-7.
Oh, no. No.
Well,
They're
you got-
going to get up to play Tom Brady because they were so close during the postseason last year. I mean, God, I'm such a delusional fan. In reality, they're going to lose by 50.
10-7. End of this year, 10-7.
No, they're not going to get blown out.
They might have 2 games
10-7.
left in them.
Our blowout already happened with Buffalo.
You beat the Raiders, you beat the Panthers, you beat the Seahawks, you beat the rest of the East, 10-7.
You think we could beat Geno Smith and the Seahawks?
I think DC curse means we get Russell Wilson back perfectly healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. Any final thoughts, boys, before we put a bow on this show? LP, anything for us?
I've got nothing, but let me know when you and Mitch Trubisky start playing flag football when he's out of the league in
Will
2
do.
years.
Will do. You, I wish you and Drew Lock the best. Thank you so much. FP, final thoughts.
Maybe we'll be playing flag football against each other.
Final thoughts is, after seeing the Cowboys beat the Vikings without Dak Prescott, I think that team is Super Bowl bound.
Yeah, the Cowboys look good.
They do look good.
Unfortunately,
I
They
think
do
there's
look good.
not championship, Super Bowl round.
yeah,
They're going
quite
they're
possible.
blowing through the NFC.
They are going to be
They're
tough
stacked on
outs.
talent.
Yes. They've got 3 stud receivers, 2 stud
And
running
guess who their
backs,
GM is?
2 capable quarterbacks, 1 stud quarterback, 1 serviceable quarterback. That defense, that secondary looks much. Diggs is so much better than the other safeties.
They're
and free safeties
hitting
in the
on
league.
so many picks.
Yeah,
The
this
difference
is-
between Micah Parsons and Jamin Davis is night and day. Night and day.
And yeah,
It's sad.
if there's something more extreme than night and day, it'd be that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, hot and cold. Fire and ice, heaven and hell. Yeah, pick your poison there.
Season
final
1,
thought
Season 8
is
of
the
Game of Thrones.
My final my final thought is related to my first thought, which is Virginia went back to red, but today watching like sports or anything on TV or listening to the radio or whatever, it was such a relief to not have political campaign ads like all up in my ear and in my eyeballs. So, I've said this before, the perfect candidate, okay, and I'll leave you with this thought, boys. The perfect political candidate in my mind runs on a platform that includes only 3 bullets. The first one is term limits, okay? You cannot be a career politician. 8 years max, you're done, period. Term limits. Second one, end daylight savings time. Daylight savings time is stupid. We're not farmers. Our kids don't come home from school to plow the fields or whatever. This is stupid. We don't need daylight savings time anymore. We need maximum afternoon sun, not morning sun. Daylight savings is stupid. And third, I want someone to outlaw political campaign text messages. I don't want them. I don't know who is sitting at their home receiving a text message from campaign X or Y or Z and making a decision to vote based on a 2-paragraph text message. I want those outlawed. Those are my 3 things. Do those things, you will have my vote.
Yeah, you'd take my vote in a heartbeat with those.
And don't ring my doorbell,
Yeah, that's a good one.
especially when I'm in a meeting.
Don't
so
door knock.
annoying.
That's right. I am who I am.
Or when I'm waiting for
I
a
said
FedEx
what I
package
said.
and you're just a stupid person trying to tell me to vote for X or Y. So annoying.
All right, boys. Have a good night. There is no football to ruin our weekends this week as far as the Washington football team is concerned. There is a lot of hockey, though. We will be watching against the Panthers tomorrow night. There is a lot of basketball. I think the Wiz have 3 coming up in the next 4 days, so that'll be a lot of fun as well. Appreciate you guys making the time. For everyone listening, thank you for sticking with us. This is Defeating the Curse, DTC. You can find us on every social media platform, every podcast platform, and on the Contender Network. The show runs on Tuesdays and Thursdays and live after every Washington football team game. Thank you for hanging out with FP, LP, and myself. Until next time, we are out.